One of the biggest advantages of using FlutterFlow is its vast array of built-in widgets and templates for building your app, making it an awesome no-code app builder. It allows you to create stunning applications effortlessly with a rich collection of ready-to-use components. And if you ever need something more customized, you can always roll out your own widgets, which is another major win for using FlutterFlow. In today's video, I want to share with you a series of custom widgets that you can use in your apps to take them to the next level. Now, before we get started, as always, all the apps and all the resources that I talk about on this channel can be viewed and or cloned via our amazing Patreon community. And if you're still not a member, you can check it out and hopefully become one using the first link in the description below the video. So many of you have been requesting that I create more customized and more powerful widgets than you get with FlutterFlow out of the box. And it is true, you get some amazing widgets, you get some amazing templates, you get some amazing components with FlutterFlow just out of the box. But there are so many things that we can do more. And actually, this is another big benefit of FlutterFlow is that it's very, very easy to create super powerful and practical widgets that you can use to differentiate your app from the rest of the competition, okay? And so I created here an app, and I want to show you some of the widgets that I have created that I'm sure many of you are going to find very, very useful, okay? So before I show you how I actually created these widgets and build this app, let me go ahead and run this app and show you some of the widgets. All right, so here's the app running here. And the first widget that I want to show you is a very simple widget, but it's a pretty cool widget that I think many of you are going to love. And this is an audio visualizer, but not just any audio visualizer. It's actually a dynamic audio visualizer. Okay, so I have here an audio clip that has been fed to this widget via a URL. Okay, and so if I press play, it's gonna go ahead and play this music. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but I assure you it is playing the music. And you can see this audio visualization, and you can also see the progress bar. Okay, now this audio visualization is not exactly linked to the music. Okay, it just creates an audio visualization to show you that there's audio there. Okay, and so I can play it, I can pause it, and you get this really nice effect. And I'm sure all of you have seen that at some point in time in your lives, maybe in some movie, maybe in some app. And I really, really like this effect. Unfortunately, you don't really get this effect with FlutterFlow. Okay, so this is a cool effect that you can use. And if we jump back to our app, this right here is this custom widget here that I created. And as you can see, I'm feeding it just a sample MP3 file. Okay, so you could feed it audio file, MP3 files, WAV files, stuff like that. And it's gonna play it, and it's gonna create this awesome visualization. So let's go ahead and see how I created it. And so here's the custom widget that does just that. And this custom widget is going to be available on our Patreon page. So you can simply copy it, you can simply clone this whole app and get access to it very, very quickly and use it in your apps quickly and easily. Now, this next widget allows you to create a UI pattern that you've probably seen all over in all kinds of different apps. And this is a form wizard. Okay, so first of all, what exactly is a wizard? Well, I'm sure that you have seen a wizard in all kinds of different apps, whether these are mobile apps, web apps, desktop apps. Essentially, a wizard is a UI pattern that takes a user through various steps. Okay, and so this typically happens on onboarding, when the user just starts using the app for the first time, as well as, surveys, things like that. So instead of displaying all of these questions on one page, you can have a user go through different steps. Okay, and this is a great technique. I'm sure you're going to be using this everywhere: onboarding, maybe surveys, questionnaires, all kinds of different things. But essentially here, if you take a look, we have two questions here and we have next here. So let's say name is James, let's say city is New York, and I hit next, and we have one more question here. State is New York. And by the way, you can have a default value there as well set, which is what you were seeing there, okay? And another thing that's happening is if I go to previous, we have this kind of this progress bar, which is actually pretty cool, okay? So if I go next, you see how it kind of moved along. Now, if I press submit, it says submitted because we have a callback from this custom widget that's connected back to your app. And so the app knows when the user submits this form, and the app also gets the results. It gets all the answers, all the questions, so it knows exactly what's happening. And so this way you can take a specific action based on when the user submits the form, okay? And so it works really, really nicely. And it's also very easy to configure. And so if I jump back to my app here, this is this form wizard, and it uses these app state variables, right? So we have this fields and field result, and fields are the fields that you specify. These are the questions, right? So we have here 3 questions, and it says here type input, name. This is the default value here, and this is the page, right? And so these first 2 questions are on page 1, whereas this one is on page 2. And so what I can do is I can just spread them out. I can make just one question on a specific page, right? So I can say, well, this one is on page 1, this one is on page 2, and this one is on page 3, okay? And so now if I rebuild the app, I will need to go through 3 pages to fill out this form, okay, as you're going to see in just a moment. All right, so if we come over here, now you see one question here, and you see the progress bar changed. So I can go to next, I can go to next, and now I need to submit because that is the last question. I hit submit, it says submitted because of that callback. And so if we jump back into FlutterFlow here, this is this widget right here. All of it is customizable, right? So you can name it whatever you want. You send in your field. So maybe you've gotten it from app state. Maybe you're pulling it from Supabase. It doesn't really matter as long as you could just send it here. So it's fully customizable. And here we have the action. And on this action, I'm just saying submitted, but you have access to the results as well. So you can get the results. You can, tell the user, hey, thanks for filling out X number of questions. You can list the results. You can send the results to a database, which is probably something that you're going to be doing. You can save the results, send them to Supabase, send them to Firebase, whatever you want. And so this way, it's fully customizable, right? You can send all these parameters, and then you're going to be getting back callbacks along with the data once the user has finished submitting, okay? And this is also another custom widget that I went ahead and built. Very, very simple. You can kind of see it right here. Very, very simple. It's just creating that flow, right? Creating that kind of that next page, next, and then you submit, or you can even go back, that kind of flow. This is exactly what it's doing, okay? And if you guys have any improvements, any upgrades, enhancements to these custom widgets, let me know in the comments below or over on my Patreon, and I will go ahead and make a newer version with your suggestions in mind. Okay, so if you guys want something added, something removed, let me know in the comments below. All right, now this next widget that I want to show you is a polling widget. Okay, so I'm sure you've seen those all over the place, especially on social media, Facebook, Twitter, or X, everywhere, right? You want to create a poll. You want people to vote on something, right? To submit their options, cast their vote, and you want to display the results, right? So here we're saying cast your vote. These are the options: blue, green, yellow. And if I say blue, and these results here are going to be fully stored. Okay, so the next time another user votes, we're going to have this data in there. Okay, so another fairly simple widget, but still a very practical widget, right? This is something that you see all over the place, and now you can have apps that leverage this functionality. And so if we go back to our app here, this is our voting widget, and just like with the previous widgets, it's fully customizable, right? I wanted to make these widgets as customizable as possible. So all you need to do is just send the feeded data and then listen for callbacks and then react on the callbacks. Okay, so we need to send in the options here, right? These are the options, and I'm going to show you exactly how they look. And we get this callback when the user votes, right? So I can come over here and I can do like a snack bar, and I can say, thanks for voting. Thanks for voting, something like this. And now I can go back here and I can rebuild my app. And as soon as I vote, I will get that callback. All right, so here's my app. We come here and let's say I want to vote for green. It says, thanks for voting, okay? And along with your callback, we're also going to be sending in what you voted for, right? So if you come over here, we have that data as well. So if you click here, you have these callback parameters, and this is going to be the option ID or within the list of options that the user has voted for, right? So if you come over here to this app state here, we have these option votes, okay? And this is the format. We're using this option vote type, and this is this custom data type right here. And all it is just the name of the option, right? The name of the the thing that you want to vote for, and the number of votes that is associated, right? So when we initially display it 0, but later on when we save all of that, it's going to display the actual value because all of this is being stored here, right? And so when the user votes, we're passing in the option ID. And so because you have a list of those options, you can quickly look up the option ID and figure out what the user voted for, right? Because that is something that you probably need to know when you're building this app, because you want to do something with the vote, you want to save it, in the user's profile, in the user's auxiliary table, stuff like that. So all of this is available. Okay, so all you need to do is feed it this option votes, create an optional callback, and you're good to go, right? That's all you need to do. So another really, really cool widget that you can use in your apps, okay? And last but definitely not least, I want to show you the most powerful widget of the bunch. And this is a super data table widget, okay? And this widget makes it really easy to show data and do complex operations on it, okay? And so here we are showing a table with 3 columns, so name, city, and state. And we also have 2 rows, okay? So we have 2 records, James in Miami, Florida, and Rob in San Diego, California, okay? Not only can we simply display it, we can also sort it, right? So you can click here and you can easily sort it by the column, okay? You can do this. You can sort it by the column here. But not only that, you can also filter. And so let's say I'm looking for Rob. Well, all I need to do is start typing Rob, and it immediately filters just for names that are Rob. Same thing for city. Let's say I want to find people in Miami. All I need to do is start typing, and it shows me the record here for state. I want just the Florida people. Okay, I want people in California. Okay, and another thing that's really cool about this widget is that it's fully responsive. Okay, so if I click here, you see how it expands. If I click here, you see how it expands. Okay, and just like with the previous widgets, this widget is fully customizable. So you can do anything that you want with it. Let me show you. And so I'm going to come back to my app here, and this is the widget right here. And what you need to feed this widget are the columns and the rows. Okay, and you also have an option to show the filtering or not show the filtering as well. And this widget will do the rest. Okay, so what are these columns and rows? Well, if we come to our app state, we have these columns here, right? So the first column is name, the next column is city, and the last column is state. Now I also have a type of column because depending on the type, we can do different things. Okay, and for rows, we have their own data type, right? So if you take a look at this row, we have here the data here, right? And this needs to appear in the same order that your columns appear. Okay, so now we have James, Miami, Florida, and the second row is Rob, San Diego, California. And you can simply add rows and it's going to display all of them, right? So if I come over here and I say, well, I want to add another record here, and I'm going to say, well, this is Mike, let's say Seattle, and let's say Washington, okay? I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to rebuild my app or start a new session, and we should see 3 records now. All right, so here's the app. Come over here, and now we're seeing 3 records here, and I can easily filter by any field I want. Washington here, Florida here, stuff like that. And the reason I created this widget is because I noticed how painful it is to constantly create these table widgets with the filtering, the searching, and all of that. And this widget has its all built in, right? So you're getting this functionality for free, essentially, right? And later on, I also want to add some more features, some more functionality, some complex things that you'll be able to do. But right now, this is a really cool widget, right? And the way that you can use it in your app is by getting it data, right? So it expects this kind of data. And so you can get your data. And once you have your data, you can simply feed it to the widget. And typically the way that this is going to be done is you can just wrap it in the container. And then at the container level, you can do things like Supabase, you can do Firebase. You know, once you enable it in your FlutterFlow app, you're going to have this option. You can also do an API call, get your data, and then feed it to this widget. That is typically how you're going to be leveraging this widget. All right, guys. So 3 complex widgets plus this audio visualizer that I decided to create for fun. And you'll be able to view and or clone all of these widgets and use them in your apps as much as you want, however you want, by clicking on the first link and joining our amazing Patreon community. And remember, when you join our Patreon community, you're not only going to get access to all of these widgets, and it actually took me some time to get them working, test them out, make sure that everything is kind of lined up perfectly. They're doing they're working exactly how I wanted them to work. But you also get access to pretty much all the other apps that I've published tutorials on this channel, and that includes complex apps, simple apps, and pretty much everything in between. And so if you're looking to build amazing no-code apps with FlutterFlow, which is my favorite no-code builder, then you're going to be getting a ton of value by joining our amazing Patreon community. And in addition to that, you're going to get access to my new weekly podcast, where I create weekly videos talking about things that I've been working on this week. And in fact, I've been working on this app this entire week, but I unfortunately have not yet finished it. And this is an app that many of you are very, very interested in. And I'm going to be talking about what this app is and some of the issues that I had while trying to build it in this week's No Code Cast. And so if you want to learn more as to what's happening in the background, what kind of apps that I'm working on, what kind of apps that I'm looking to build in the future, stuff that's happening in the no-code land, so to speak, then you definitely do not want to miss this new series. And you're going to gain access to it as a member of our amazing Patreon community. And so if any of this sounds like it's going to provide you with some level of value, click the first link in the description below the video and join our amazing, rapidly growing Patreon community.